Something D&D is sorely missing is the need for more class fantasies. For example, when I think of a Necromancer, I think of raising armies of undead to do your bidding or cheating death with questionable methods. D&D has abilities that are technically necromantic in origin, but nothing quite fills that feeling of a traditional Diablo 2 style Necromancer. So today, I'm going to walk you through how to build your own D&D classic Necromancer all the way to level 20. I suppose the first thing I should do is kind of clarify exactly what we're going for with this build. Most people would think of a Necromancer as powerful casters who raise a lot of undead. Pretty simple. When push comes to shove, they likely hide behind their minions and pretty much throw anything they can between them and a threat in order to survive. Really, the main focus of this build is to 1. Raise as many undead as possible, all while being as lazy as possible, because let's be honest, Necromancers are powerful, but generally they let their minions do the grunt work. Now, there are some key spells that come to mind here, things like Darkness, Animate Dead, Dance Macabre, I definitely said that one wrong, Create Undead, or Soul Cage. But we can go even a step further. By utilizing a mixture of classes, feats, and spells, we can really get that true necromantic playstyle we're looking for. So, let's get into the details. For this build of 20 whole levels, I decided to put the majority of those in the Wizard School of Necromancy, specifically 14 levels. This provides obviously a lot of necromancy focused spells like Animate Undead and provides buffs to your minions. The last 6 levels I struggled with and kind of went back and forth, but I ended up putting all 6 of them into the Peace Domain Cleric because, honestly, what's more peaceful than extinguishing all life and raising them as your undead yes men? I know it sounds kind of strange, but go with me on this, it makes sense once I go over it. But let's start off with the Wizard. Alongside the spell slots, the Necromancy School provides 5 features, and while all of them are technically great for Necromancers, there's only really 2 of them that really matter in this build. And those would be the Undead Thralls feature you get at level 6 and the Command Undead feature you get at level 14. Undead Thralls automatically teaches you the Animate Dead spell, saving a spell slot, and when you cast it you create 1 additional undead minion, being either a zombie or a skeleton. More undead equals more fun, so obviously this is a pretty big one. It also provides buffs to your undead minions that you summon through any spell, providing them with additional hit points equal to your wizard level, as well as allowing them to add your proficiency bonus to all damage rolls. Meaning that at max level, all of your undead minions would get an extra 14 hit points and deal an extra 6 damage on each hit. However, the next feature, Command Undead, is where this build gets super powerful. You can use your action to assert your will over an undead creature where they need to make a saving throw or they fall under your control. This remains until you use the feature again, meaning that you could technically have this undead minion forever until you choose to change it out for a newer model. The only way undead can break out of this once they fail is that if that undead has an intelligence of 12 or higher, they can remake the save every hour. But assuming the undead that you're controlling in this way only has an intelligence of 11 or lower, then they're stuck there until you dispose of them however you see fit. Okay, so that's the wizard features. Let's move on to the part that you're all probably wondering about, the Peace Domain Cleric. So getting 6 levels in the Peace Domain Cleric provides you 5 features including domain spells. But honestly, there's really only 2 features that we care about here, and that would be the Emboldening Bond you get at 1st level and the Protective Bond you get at 6th level. Emboldening Bond allows you to bond with creatures, and any bonded creature within 30 feet of another bonded creature gets to add a d4 to an attack roll, ability check, or a saving throw. This d4 can only be used once per turn, but that's still pretty good since you're level 20 and you get to bond a total of 6 creatures. Now, Protective Bond is where this gets spicy. This feature allows you, whenever a bonded creature is going to take damage, teleport another bonded creature to take damage instead. So the Necromancer could be hit with a spell or an attack and use its reaction to teleport a zombie in front of him to eat the attack instead. The Necromancer literally just throws his minions between him and his problem, and that pretty much fits the motif perfectly. And that's it for classes. With just those alone, we get a stronger summon with Animate Undead, we get stronger undead minions overall, and we get to sacrifice undead minions to protect yourself. Win-win-win. But this build gets much better with feats and spells. Just like this YouTube channel gets better with more engagement. Make sure to subscribe and let me know what you think of the build in the comment section below. Anyways, I suppose we should move into the feats that I chose for this build. Since we're a level 14 wizard and a level 6 cleric, there are 4 potential feats that we have access to, assuming that we're not a variant human. This build works with any race, but since you get an extra feat as a variant human, it is worth considering so you can have an extra ability score improvement somewhere down the line. But assuming we only get access to 4 ability score improvements, we take 3 feats and leave 1 for a score improvement. The first feat we take is Metamagic Adept. This provides us with 2 sorcery points and access to the extended spell meta magic option, effectively allowing us to double the amount of time we have undead minions. This feat is really the only reason I didn't put sorcerer into the build. Anyways, the second feat that we chose is the Wizard Ritual Caster feat. This, alongside ritual casting bonuses, provides us with the Find Familiar spell and the Unseen Servant spell. Both of these spells obviously play into having more minions to do your bidding, and while they aren't necessarily the most combat effective, are both incredibly useful spells in their own right. Unseen Servant obviously fits more with the theme here, but I kind of like the idea of Find Familiar, 1 for the memes and 2 for the uses. Just think about it. You command and watch your undead armies wreak havoc, all while petting your evil cat Mr. Bigglesworth. And since they're both ritual spells, you can have them both up at the same time. Like I said, more minions, more fun. And finally, the last feat I took was Eldritch Adept, specifically Devil's Sight. This gives you the ability to see in magical darkness, which is amazing synergy with the darkness spell that we took for this build. So not only can you watch your undead army wreak havoc all while pitting your evil cat Mr. Bigglesworth, but you can do so from magical darkness, making it near impossible to get to you. And those are the 3 feats I chose. There are other feats that honestly could work with this build, but I felt like those ones fit the Necromancer style of play really well. But anyways, it's now time to go through the final part of the build, which is the spells. So here's the deal. There are a couple of spells that you 100% obviously need for a Necromancer build. I'm only going to cover those necessary spells because you can pretty much mix and match whatever spells you want or what you feel would work for your build. So let's start off with the spells that don't summon undead and then finish it off with just how many servants we can have up at one time. So the main spells I chose for this that don't have to do with summoning undead are Darkness, Hold Person, Wither and Bloom, Spirit Shroud, Blight, Cloud Kill, Soul Cage, and Finger of Death. Most of these are pretty obvious spells, so I'm only going to explain 2 of them. Wither and Bloom pretty much heals your minions all while dealing enemies in a certain radius. Pretty necromantic if you ask me, sucking the life from your enemies to heal your undead minions. And Soul Cage literally traps the soul of someone that you recently killed in a cage that provides different benefits. If you haven't read Soul Cage, read the spell, it is gnarly as hell. You can literally sap energy from the soul to heal yourself, oh, it's just so cool. But now is the time that you've all been waiting for, the undead summoning. So let's not waste any more time here. The spells that we have for summoning minions is Animate Dead, Dance Macabre, definitely said that wrong again, Create Homunculus, Create Undead, and technically Find Familiar and Unseen Servant, but we're not going to count those. All of these spells create some form of minion. Now, Create Homunculus is effectively a better version of Find Familiar that lasts until it dies. While it's not necessarily combat oriented, that is 1 minion. Combine that with the Find Familiar, you now have 2 minions. Next, we cast Animate Dead at 7th level. This raises 5 zombies and skeletons under your control, bringing your total of minions to 7. After that, we cast Create Undead at 8th level. This animates a total of 5 ghouls, bringing the total minions to 12 for a total of 24 hours. Next, we cast Dance Macabre at 9th level. Again, I probably said that wrong. This raises 13 skeletons or zombies, bringing our total to 25 minions under our control at one point in time. Unfortunately, this spell only lasts 1 hour, so it's a bit limited, which is where I would spend my sorcery points to extend the duration to 2 hours. But let's remember the other abilities that we got from our classes. We get 1 additional zombie or skeleton when casting Animate Undead, making our total minions 26, and each of those raised undead minions gets extra health and damage from the Undead Thralls feature. And finally, the coup de grace of the entire build, we have Command Undead. Commanding an additional undead creature, which pretty much has no restrictions on power level, means you could theoretically command a freaking but CR 20 Nightwalker. This brings our total undead army to a whopping 27 total undead, including the Nightwalker. And that, my friends, is how you build the Necromancer in D&D. Now, I didn't even add magic items into the build, but if you threw in a couple here, you could probably even increase that number further. But that is a topic for another video. If you think I missed anything, or you think you have a better necromancy build, let me know. Put those things in the comments, and if you like this kind of video, put that in the comments as well, because honestly, I like these kind of fantasy archetype build videos, and I might make more of them. I read every comment, almost always reply, and who knows, I might even feature your build in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on Friday.